And welcome back to the Hot Lap. I was planning to talk about the wonderful Rally Sweden winners and losers, rating the drivers, and then Adrian Fourmaux was fined for the swear. Yeah, I think we probably need to talk about it and what that actually means. So Fourmaux fined for saying naughty words. Not that big a deal. Well, I think it probably is, ultimately, and what it actually means. So, as we know, Fourmaux fined for swearing in stage end interview. Rally Sweden stewards determined Hyundai driver to be in breach of what they thought was what they know is the 2025 FIA International Sporting Code. Yeah. We'll get into that sporting code by the end of the video. But rally stewards have handed Fourmaux a €10,000 fine, with a further €20,000 suspended for 12 months. Oh, how kind they are for swearing on the live broadcast coverage of the event's power stage. Now, let me get one thing straight. You shouldn't swear on live TV. Completely get it. Kids could be watching. There are plenty of rally fans that are children, but there's a but. €10,000. So Fourmaux had an eventful day where he was among initially a five-way fight for the win, but then it all went horribly wrong, didn't it, on that Saturday, I think, where he got buried in the snow. But having rejoined the rally on Sunday, he was hampered by the running at the front of the road order, so chose to save his ties for the power stage that yielded fifth fastest time and a single point. Okay. During his stage-end interview, Fourmaux said, "We effed up yesterday." No, it wasn't effed, but you can imagine what word he used. It did begin with an F and ended in a D. But the steward's report states that when summoned, Fourmaux explained he was referring to the mistake that he made on the previous day. What mistake was that? Well, when he didn't do his helmet up and it cost him 20 seconds, or when he was in the snow. I mean, both things they kind of messed up. But anyway, and that he used the words in a colloquial and descriptive way, in the sense that he made a mistake. He apologised as he did not mean to offend or insult anyone by using those words. Realistically, that should have been enough. Don't swear. Completely get it. Shouldn't swear on live TV. When you are in the car, when the adrenaline is going, I kind of understand. But the steward report states, the stewards reminded the driver and the team representative of the stance that the Ben Salayim, regarding not only inappropriate language, but also verbal physical abuse and displaying political, religious and personal statements or comments, notably in violation of the general principle of neutrality promoted by the FIA under its statutes where they don't like free speech. Okay, moving on. The stewards and the FIA acknowledge that the words in question have unfortunately become common colloquialisms. However, it is essential to emphasise that this does not diminish the fact that such language is widely regarded as profanity, I agree with this bit, and inappropriate in public discourse, including live television broadcast. Got it? Yeah. On radio, they have a dump button. Why can't they do that on TV? Firstly, they can bleep it out, can't they? A dump button. So when it is some of the live things, like 5 seconds, obviously, behind it, they can go bleep for that. Easily done, isn't it? The stewards determined that this was a breach of their 2025 FIA International Sporting Code. Part of me thinks the FIA putting sporting in anything is slightly ironic, but anyway, let's carry on. The report added, in determining the appropriate penalty for the breach, the stewards have considered the following mitigating circumstances. This is the first instance of the driver being summoned for the steward for such an infringement. Okay. English is not the driver's native language. The expression used is rather a colloquial term in certain cultures and was not intended to be offensive. The driver had acknowledged that it was a lapse in judgment expressed in the heat of the moment immediately after finishing SS18, the power stage. The remark was self-referential, directed solely at the driver's own performance and not aimed at any other individual or entity. I understand that. And the driver immediately recognised the inappropriate nature of the comment and issued an unprompted apology to the stewards and the FIA. Furthermore, he voluntarily committed to posting a public apology on his social media account, which has since been published. Surely that should have been the end of it. The driver has assured the stewards that he will exercise greater caution in the future. Understandable. Get that dump button, FIA. And there we go. But what exactly did this mean? Here's the actual thing that the FIA had. Following the completion of the power stage here, we're about here, the Rally Sweden 2025, the driver conducted a post-stage interview, and obviously that's where the F thing. The driver explained that he was referring to the mistake he made. It's pretty much what the initial article actually said. But herein lies the issue that I have. One, where is the money going? we are going to get into that. And to be fair, the money does go somewhere. Okay, I got you. Nice. Thumbs up. I'm liking that. The money goes to grassroots motorsport, except I don't know the exact numbers that the FIA are doing. But before we get into where the money actually goes, let's get into it. Should you really be fined €10,000 for swearing? No, that's absolutely ridiculous. Should you apologise? Absolutely. That I completely get. Fourmaux did apologise. He put it on his social media. Why 10,000? Is it because the FIA are running out of money? Because let's be fair, the amount of drivers, WRC, WRC, Formula 1, Formula 2, Formula 3, when you look at all the motorsports the FIA have, yes, drivers do swear. Should they swear? No. They shouldn't swear in like an official public interview. I completely get it. And I completely understand the colloquialism that and not really be an excuse. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about the ridiculous €10,000 fine. I mean, what? That's just so silly. Now, this is the FIA we're talking about, and this is the same people that couldn't organise a drunk party in a pub, I'd imagine, simply because when you go back, and I am talking about Formula 1 rally fans, so I kind of apologise, you go back to the Qatar Grand Prix, there was a mirror on the road for like 3 or 4 laps where they just used waved yellows, double wave yellows, thinking people are going to miss it, and were quite happy, allegedly, to have it there for most of the race, reportedly, according to some reports, until someone, I think Bottas, decided to run over it, and I think it was Bottas, but someone did, and then got a puncture. Now, had that puncture happen at a very high speed, it could have been very bad indeed for Bottas. But then that's the FIA, that's the stewards, the FIA in charge of the stewards. Yeah, they're not fined for that, are they? Should I'm assuming it was again Bottas in the well, not the Sauber, but the Stake F1 car that was damaged. Should they fine the FIA? Absolutely they should, but they're not going to. They won't get the money. Ergo, when you look back at the Las Vegas Grand Prix, yes, it was by Formula 1 and the circuits, but it's also the FIA that have to deem the track safe. Now, in that first practice session, Carlos Sainz ran over a drain and went kaput. And then the FIA refused to, pay any reparations, let's say, on Carlos Sainz's damaged Ferrari, which is by no means Ferrari's fault at all. It could have been anyone. Once again, it could have been very dangerous. The FIA are the people that make sure the circuit is safe, as well as the organisers, but it's the FIA that say, yes, the circuit is safe or we can go. Were they fined? No. They should have been fined. Yes, let's be fair. That's a lot worse than swearing. Abu Dhabi 2021. Need I say more? Ridiculous, absolute ridiculousness, and also the absolute inconsistency of some of the penalties given to people. Max Verstappen fans, stand up, I guess, because and all others. Lando Norris as well was guilty of ridiculously silly penalties. So the FIA, the fact that they call it a sporting car, do they really know much about sport? I don't really think they do. Here we go. Here's the F1 drivers face fines. This is from January 2025. Points, penalties, and bans. And this is the thing. So I imagine, potentially then, the WRC drivers could also, I imagine, be banned from swearing too much, which is absolutely ridiculous. So the article from ESPN, it says, Formula 1 drivers could face points deductions or bans if they repeatedly swear or criticise the sport's governing body. And here's the big issue here. If they criticise the sport's governing body, which is exactly what I've just done, pray tell luckily I don't have the talent to be a World Rally Championship driver, Formula 1 driver, or any kind of driver other than on Gran Turismo 7. And even then I'm slightly dangerous. But the absolute ridiculous thing here is this bit here. Criticise the sport's governing body. Under advice, criticise the sport's governing body, like leaving a mirror on the track. So if you criticise that, which is a fact, they should have moved that mirror. The fact is that mirror was dangerous. The fact is that someone ran over that mirror in Qatar 2024, and it could have been very dangerous. So if they criticise that, is then the sports governing body going to be like, well, I'll just give you a fine? I don't know why I did an old judge noise, but for that, but there we go. So in the latest version of the International Sporting Code, the sports governing body mapped out recommended punishment for various types of misconducts. The regulation defined misconducts as the general use of language, gesture and or sign that is offensive, insulting, coarse, rude or abusive, and might reasonably be expected to or be perceived to be coarse or rude or to cause offence, humiliation or to be inappropriate. Okay. So, for example, if Fourmaux was swearing at another rally driver, completely understand. Now, as well as physical assaults and the incitement to do any of the above, fair enough, fair enough. Okay. So a new appendix presents recommended penalties can be issued, albeit making an allowance for stewards to consider, which they did in Adrian Fourmaux's case. Now, in the instance of misconduct, the appendix states that the first offence within a 2-year period for F1 drivers, not rally, 40,000, so rally drivers is 20,000 euros. A second offence is 80,000 and suspended 1 month. Ban what? You're going to ban a Formula 1 driver for saying naughty words. Yet, for example, we know Formula 1 drivers have been dangerous moves based on track. I'm not going to name any names, but you're not going to... yes, you do get the 12 points. So the point being, if a driver swears like 4 or 5 times, you can potentially get banned for a month. Yet... let's be fair, it took Magnussen the best part of like 3/4 of a year to get his 12 points to be banned in Formula 1 for a race. 1 month suspension plus deduction of championship points. So a championship in Formula 1. I don't know about the rally side of things, and I worry. So if you swear too much, you could lose the championship. This is how ridiculous levels it's getting. Once again, I don't agree with swearing on live TV. Now, the exact same levels of punishment are also recommended for any words, deeds or writings that have caused moral injury or loss to the FIA. Well, the FIA, you're a joke. I'm so glad I'm not a driver. Any words, deeds or writings that have caused moral injury or loss to the FIA, its bodies, its members or its executive officers, and more generally on the interests of motorsport and on the values. Values? Really? Values defended by the FIA. I mean... more and more, the FIA is sounding like a dictatorship when it comes to free speech. Don't agree with the swearing, but I do agree with criticising in a responsible and respectable way the governing body. If they are not doing their job, Abu Dhabi 2021 properly, Qatar 2024 properly, Las Vegas 2023 properly. So the new guidelines follow a clampdown on swearing by the governing body, which resulted in world champion Max Verstappen completing a work of public interest, using profanity at a news conference at the Singapore Grand Prix. Yeah. Verstappen served the punishment at the end of last year by taking part in grassroots mode. I mean, that was very nice. In Rwanda, absolutely brilliant. That was lovely. Shouldn't have been a punishment, though, should it? Ferrari driver Leclerc was also fined €10,000, not the 40 they're suggesting, for swearing during a news conference in Mexico, half of which was suspended for a year, so he could pay a lot more. Because Leclerc immediately apologised for the language, the stewards issued the fines, said a mitigation factor had led to a lesser penalty. How kind you are, the FIA. It's just absolutely, I mean, it makes me cross. So where do the fines go? So there are numerous rules that Formula 1 drivers and teams can fall foul of, and when I say Formula 1 drivers, ergo in 2025, I now mean WRC drivers as well. But money generated from the fines is donated to the FIA Foundation, which is split between 3 different funds. We've got... stewards are able up to fine drivers $250,000. For example, Lewis Hamilton, I think in Qatar 2023, walked across the track and was threatened with a fine. The maximum being $250,000. Where do the money go? The Motorsport Safety Development Fund, a good fund. The Motorsport was founded in 2008 using the FIA's share of the Spygate fine. Yes, but this is where they fined. The FIA fined McLaren, $100 million. Yet, and this is the ironic thing, yes, Max Mosley was in charge. He did not like Ron Dennis. But when Renault, did the same thing. So what McLaren did, they allegedly got hold of Ferrari intellectual property, as in the blueprints of their car, naughty. Renault did pretty much the same thing with another team's intellectual property, almost to the letter. Yeah, but they weren't fined $100 million. So sporting Formula 1, you can go all the way back to 2007 and they continue to be a joke. But to be fair, I can't argue with this money, the Mobility Development Fund is also used to road safety initiatives outside the racing sphere. This is a good thing. The fund has supported initiatives in over 100 countries involving everything from prevention of mobile phone use in cars to campaigns encouraging children to wear a helmet when riding their bicycle to school. Brilliant. Love it. Still shouldn't be fining a driver $10,000. The Sport Development Fund, the third fund is the Sport Development Fund, started in 2014 and offers grants to motorsport associations around the globe to put on events and increase the appeal of motorsport. as long as they don't swear. A major example of this project ambitions was their help in funding and organising a Formula 4 championship for the USA and Australia. Lovely. I mean, really, really nice. It's great. And the fund has supported grassroots motorsport in the USA, making more accessible. Where is that? I've now completely lost it now. Making more accessible to beginners and increasing participation. In general, this seems to have a real positive impact, with the viewership of Formula 1 increasing each year. Very nice. Very good. But this is the issue. I mean, herein lies the massive issue. 10,000. 10,000 for this guy here, Adrian Fourmaux, for saying a word which he probably shouldn't have done. Didn't hurt, I don't think it really offended too many people, I imagine, but and it's something that can perfectly, as I mentioned before, it can perfectly be bleeped out with a dump button. Things like interviews, if they delayed it by a few seconds. But no. There. So, in conclusion, there does need to be some kind of comeuppance when drivers swear in an official public press conference. Completely agree. The fine, no. That's just a way of making money, like a lot of things are. Parking fines, etc. So I mean, some fines are just absolutely ridiculous. It's just a way for the FIA to make money, which is really, really sad. If you, though, made it to the end of my rant, I am so sorry. Please give us a subscribe. That would be really, really fantastic. I'd really, really enjoy that. Hit that like button if you want. That's really going to help us. Just by you clicking on this video, though, is more than enough for us. So I want to say thank you very much. Speak to you soon, no doubt. But above all else, stay safe and don't swear. Thank you.